Hello. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Nadia Adam. I'm a Vedic astrologer and psychic medium. So today we are going to talk about the Mars retrograde that's occurring right now in the sky until I believe January of 2023. This is a rare phenomena for Mars to stay in one sign or impacting and influencing one sign for almost 8 months. I mean, when we reach January, it will be 8 months. All right. So before we start, all my explanation will be divided into parts. The timestamp will be in the description box below. And I already wrote a post, which is actually a vlog about the Mars retrograde. The link will be also in the description box if you feel interested to book a reading with me. All my information in description box below. All right. Okay, so let's start. Before we get into the deep of Mars and how it will influence every ascendant or every sign, let us understand the fundamental or the basic of how you actually can read a retrograde planet. All right. So the rule I'm going to tell you right now, it applied in any cases. All right. In any planet when it's going retrograde, you want to observe and understand how it will impact you. You can follow the steps, which one I'm going to mention right now. All right. Okay, let me put a disclaimer. Whatever I'm going to explain right now, or whatever I'm going to mention, it's not necessary to apply to you 100%. It will vary, depend on the situation of your chart. It will vary, depend on your Mahadasha, Antardasha, and Priyantradasha. I do believe that Antardasha and Priyantradasha will give you a much more strong impact. So I have to check these planets in your chart, whether you are actually going through activation of Mars, all right? Or if, let's say, these planets actually sitting in Scorpio or Aries or in Taurus, all right? So any planets connected to Taurus, Aries, and Scorpio, those people or those planets will be very much highlighted, and most probably you will feel 70% or 80%, let's say. Others of people might 50, 60%, right? I hope I make it clear here. All right, so let's start. Whenever we have a retrograde planet, which is here, Mars, I'm just making the ascendant here as Aries, okay? Akala Purush Kundali. So we have Mars here, right? So whenever a planet is retrograding, it will always impact the opposite sign of itself. All right. So let's say, for example, right now we have Mars is aspecting Sagittarius, right? Because when the planet is going backward, it's mean, imagine with me that the planet is going backward, that's mean it will look at the opposite sign of itself. It's not only the previous sign, the opposite of it, right? So Mars here right now is retrograding, it's influencing Sagittarius, all right? But because Mars retrograde in Gemini, it will be only for few days, so we can neglect the idea or the aspect of Mars right now influencing Sagittarius. What we need to focus on, let me change this one here. Hold on, let me change it. Let's say 1 week from now, let's say 14th of November. Okay, anywhere. Cool. All right. Let me get my pen back here. Okay, so Mars most of the time will be retrograding in a Taurus, right? The opposite sign of it is Scorpio. So that's mean the energy of Scorpio right now, it's highlighted. It's not only because it's ruled by Mars, but yet because Mars is retrograding and looking at it directly. All right. So as an overall and general mundane level, we can see that in upcoming months, which is from now until January, we will witness a lot of changes. We will witness a lot of ending, even death. I'm personally, I start to see and hear a lot of people from my surrounding, they are passing away. You know, it's a bit dramatic, I would say, like how Mars retrograde it just started, and we can see how the theme of Mars energy start to highlight it. violence we can see around. We have seen accidents everywhere right now. It starts to increase, especially like car accidents, something related to vehicles or in transport and all this stuff. It will start to increase slowly. All right. Even accidents related to fire or connected to fire in some way, or earth, like an earthquake, it can actually manifest during this time. All right. So my point here, whenever you are looking at a retrograde planet, you have to see the opposite sign of it, because that sign will be highlighted and very much activated. And unfortunately, because it's about Scorpio, unfortunately, it's actually ruled by Mars itself. That's mean the theme of Scorpio during this time will be very, very much highlighted. All right. Whatever you want to mention about Scorpio, whatever it is about Scorpio, that thing will start to activate. All right. Again, of course, it will vary. It doesn't mean that everybody gonna die now. Again, it's really vary, depend on your chart. Scorpio can be ending of something, but yet it's taking birth of something new, taking birth of something revolutionary, taking birth of something which is can be changing. Like it's like a transformative, change your life in a positive way. It's not necessarily transformation should be in negative way. I hope it makes sense. All right. So this is one point I wanted to mention here. Now the second point is that, let me look at my notes. Okay, how are we gonna read actually a transit? The transit in general. All right. Let's say, for example, okay, now you're actually going through Antardasha, Pre-Antardasha of Mahadasha of Mars or whatever. There are some sort of activation in your chart related to Mars. So how are you going to read it? There are two ways you want to read it. Either you want to read it from Ascendant or from the Moon or from Mahadasha Lord. MD. I know, my writing is just so really bad. Either from Ascendant, from Moon, or from Mahadasha Lord. Right? You have to choose either Moon or Ascendant, or if you feel like both of them actually really resonates with you, you can take both of them and then add on that Mahadasha Lord. I feel like Mahadasha Lord has a very, very much more strong impact when it comes to the future prediction. Let's say, for example, I'm going actually through, let's say, for example, I'm saying, I'm going to Rahu Mahadasha. My Rahu is in the Aries, okay? You let that Rahu as ascendant and see where is Mars located and see how Mars is transiting. Let's say, for example, let's us just remove all of this. Let's say, for example, I'm going through Saturn Mahadasha and Saturn is in a Capricorn. You let the Saturn as the ascendant here. You let Saturn as ascendant here and see where is Mars transiting. Okay, it now is transiting the 5th house. That means the theme related to 5th house, 11th house, and the 4th house will be activated. These 3 houses will be somehow, somewhere activated. All right. I found this technique is pretty much effective. All right. I don't know if other astrologers using it or not, but it's just my recommendation, my advice. If you really want to see how the planet will affect you, how the transit gonna be for you, you have to see it from Moon, Ascendant, and Mahadasha Lord. Let it as ascendant and see where is it sitting. All right. This is one point. Second point, when you want to read about the transit, you have to look at the Ashtak Varga point. All right. So, okay, so we have here actually the Ashtak Varga. Let me get my pen again. All right. Okay, so we can see here there is Ashtak Varga of Mars, right? So you have to see how many points it's giving. And you have to see also the house, how many points it's given to the house. Just give me a second. Okay, like this. And how many points is given to the house. Let's say, for example, right now, Mars is transiting the 5th house here, right? It's giving the house 23. The strength of the house is 23, which is average, all right? And Mars itself giving 3 points. That's mean, you know, pretty much it can be like a half-half situation. I don't think the person who have such transit right now might really enjoy the period, or at least it's not gonna give the person any result. All right. I will link the video where I posted a tutorial about how you can read Ashtaka Varga and how you can use it in transit in the description box. You can check it out. All right. All right. So now, okay, enough talking. Let us start. Let us start with Aries here. So we have, let us make this one. Where is Aries? Okay. Aries. Okay. So for Aries ascendant moon or whatever Mahadasha Lord that is sitting in the Aries, all right? So Mars right now, it's transiting your second house, right? Is the ruler of your ascendant and your eighth house. This is for sure indicating that the person might experience some sort of change in term of finance, in their investment, or could also unexpected inheritance might come from a family. All right. Something such theme related to family and their finance will start to play out very strongly in their in your chart. All right. Let's say, for example, you have been waiting for a certain amount of money, but it's not coming up to you, or there is a sort of delay. Maybe Mars retrograde right now, it will give you whatever you want. All right. If, let's say, for example, you have been someone, let's say someone is been hiding something about some information related to finance, related to money, related to family in general, somehow, some way, this might indicate an exposure, or you might hear some sort of either good or bad news. It depends on the Ashtaka Varga, but you might hear a news related to family. All right. It might also indicate unexpected expenses if the second house is low. How do you know whether this is low or not? You need to check from the Ashtaka Varga, okay? Which again, I will link the video in description box. All right, you can learn from it and you understand whether it's gonna be a good transit or bad transit. All right, so this is second point. A third point where I can see here, you might have some sort of issues related to throat, or it's like a health issues, but I don't think it's like a major thing. But there can be some sort of issues related to throat area or in your teeth. Something like that might happen in between during this Mars retrograde. Okay, you have to be careful because Mars is surgery. So if you're not really taking care of it from now, it might exaggerate it until, I mean, it can be really, how can I say, critical. Okay, it can get really critical if you're not really treating it right now. If you feel sick, if you feel something is just not right, you gotta go and do your checkup. All right. Another thing where we can see here, because the eighth house is sitting in the ascendant, oh sorry, the eighth house and the ascendant, both of them are sitting in the second house. So it might actually indicate there can be some sort of conflict or argument or issue with the spouse or with the spouse family, or you might hear some sort of drama might happen with the spouse family. Some way or somehow you might need to involve in that issue, could be also requesting you to pay some sort of fund to them. All right, it will require some financial help. All right, that's in overall. So I wish you all the best, people who have placement in Aries. So now let us move to Taurus. Okay, so now Taurus ascendant moon, or if you have any lord sitting in the Mahadasha Lord, if your Mahadasha Lord is sitting in Taurus. So we have Mars actually is retrograding in your ascendant itself, right? It's activating your 12th house, it's activating your 7th house. Okay, first and foremost, what I can see here, because 12th Lord is in the ascendant, it might indicate some sort of unexpected expenses related to yourself. could be your health might get deteriorated during this period. You feel like you need more vitamin, more supplements. I don't know. You will start to spend a lot of money on yourself, okay? On your physical body or for your health due to unexpected change. All right. It might also indicate that it's indicating, but it will be better if you can really take care and watchful of your finance and how your expenditure is, because you might exaggerate a bit in your expenses, okay, or in buying stuff and things which is not really necessary. All right, you have to pay attention on this. This is second point. A third point, Mars is actually retrograding in the ascendant. In some way it can actually create some sort of, I don't want to say mental or emotional turbulence, but yet you might feel irritated. Maybe from a simple thing, you might feel irritated. From simple thing, you might feel emotional. You might feel like things are just not right. There is the energy of anxious. I want to do this, I want to do that, but yet I don't know how to do it, how I can, or how I supposed to execute it. All right. So for Taurus people here, there are a lot of thoughts might be in their head. All right, because it's related to 7th house and 12th house. It can really push you to just isolate yourself. Do you don't want to talk with people, you don't want to relate to people, or you just feel strongly irritated and frustrated whenever you are around people or surrounding whomever it is. Okay, even it can apply with the aspect of relationship. You might feel like you want to distance yourself from the relationship, or you want to take a break from it because there are things that you need to really figure out, or you feel like the dynamic of relationship need to change in some way, but you still not really know what it's supposed to be done. All right, either it's your energy or your spouse or partner energy. It can play out in that way. In both cases, it's really going to irritate you and nudge your head that I have to do something, but I really do not know what I have to do. So as a reaction of it, you will start to isolate yourself from people. Okay, so my suggestion for you, be calm, stay focused. Okay, do not take drastic decision. Pay attention to your emotion and the way how you speak, on the way how you present yourself to people, because Mars retrograde right now is very critical, or it's very sensitive, where people can really detect your energy even though you're not saying it or you're not expressing it, if that makes sense, because it's already shown on you, because it's on your ascendant. So people really know whenever you're upset, you have an attitude on something like that. All right, so it might really create a chaos when it comes to personal relationships. So you have to be careful on this. All right. There can be also some sort of transformation, might happen with the partner, might happen with your spouse, whomever, your significant other, that could require your attention or require your help. All right. So good luck and wish you all the best, people who have Taurus. Okay, let us move to Gemini here. Okay. Okay, get my pen here. All right. So for Gemini, we have Mars is transiting the 12th house. All right. It's activating your 11th and your 6th. I mean, in some cases, or in overall mundane here, we can see that Mars actually activating your Dushtanas. There are two Dushtanas in your chart will be activated. Most probably, it could be connected to work or career in general, because I have been in contact with people with Gemini ascendant, and I can see how their work situation, it's just start to change or start to accelerate into some sort of situation, I would say. All right, like some sort of drama, I would say, going on in the workplace. All right, so one point, you have to pay attention, really, really good attention on your health, on your well-being, And if you feel slightly tired, you're not in mood, or you don't feel like you really want to do anything, you don't want to do something, then don't do, because this is activating both houses that connected to health. So you really have to pay attention to your health. All right. So this is one point. Second point, pay attention to your finance. Pay attention to how you spend your money, because there can be unexpected expenditure here going on with 6 and 12. All right. Because we have actually is ruling your 11th house of gains. So maybe it might indicate that maybe you thought that you will attain something, you will get something in next period, but yet there can be some delays might happen during this time because of Mars retrograding in your 12th house. So it might put you or makes you feel like you're going to lose that opportunity, or you might feel like you have to put a more effort into it to attain whatever you're supposed to attain during this time. Sense of insecurity might show up, sense of feeling I don't want to say depression, but worries, I would say. A worry related to finance, related to your well-being, or related to your career might show up during this time. Okay? Again, this doesn't mean like it will be a very bad transit for Gemini. It doesn't mean like that. It can also actually indicate that the person might get opportunities in the foreign land, or might get a support from a foreign people. Such theme might occur. There is a strong foreign element gonna play out in your life in the next few months. All right. So that's in general. And also, I don't know if you are actually chasing an inheritance or expecting to gain money from a family or an inheritance, expect there can be some sort of, I don't want to say a friction, but the things might accelerate either in good or bad way, depend on your chart. But if you are waiting for any amount of money that comes from a family or property, let's say even, or a vehicle, okay, and it's somehow being stuck for a while, you might hear a news about it in next few months. All right. So good luck for people who are having a Gemini placement. Now let's move on to Cancer. All right. So for Cancer, we have Mars is retrograding in your 11th house, and it's activating your 5th house, activating your 10th house. So for a Cancer people, Mars is your Yoga Karaka planet, right? The good thing, I will deliver the good news first. The good thing is that because it's your Yoga Karaka, usually it won't give you bad results. Either it will give you stagnation, as if like nothing gonna change in the next period, or it will give you acceleration, because in all cases we can see it's activating good houses. It's activating your Kendra and Trikona house, right? And it's sitting or retrograding in the highest Upacha houses. That's mean there can be some wish fulfillment might happen during next period. All right. Or let's say you have been working on to something you want to achieve, but somehow delay happened, that happened, things just start to become very messy. During Mars retrograde right now, it might really put everything in order and let you achieve whatever you want, especially when it comes to career. All right. So Mars here can really give you some sort of good gains. All right. But yet also there are gains, but could be also an exaggeration in expenses, or there can be delay in some way. I don't want to say expenses. There can be even sometimes some sort of delay. You will get whatever you want, and there is no issue on this, but you might expect some delays, or you need to put extra effort, or you need to put extra money on this, or do this more or do that more to get whatever you want, if that makes sense. All right. So I believe like the maximum thing that might happen to you, it's just like exaggeration in the time period as like a delay. All right. So This is for Cancer. We have the fifth house also here got activated. It can also indicate that people from a past life or issues from a past or people you have a karmic connection with might show up during this time. They will divide it into two parts. One of this group will support you during this time, and another one will start to act wishy-washy, if that makes sense. Will act weirdly. You will feel like I am a bit skeptical about these people, or you will feel like maybe I'm not supposed to deal with them, or already these two groups already there in your life, and you now start to realize things about people or about others in general. Who's a friend? Who's an enemy? Who you supposed to support? Who you supposed to just leave them alone? All right. So theme also related to people and karmic connections will start to show up. Could be also a past triggers. Maybe you went through certain situation in the past or certain relationship or connection in the past. Somehow, some way that particular energy will start to show up again because some sort of realization you might get, or it not end yet and you need to end it, or if the closure was not really closed, I would say. So right now you have to revisit that situation or these people. All right, but as overall I think it will be a decent, even if it's not good, at least it will be decent for Cancer people. Okay, so wish you all the best for Cancerian people. Let's move to Leo. Okay, all right. Okay, so we have Mars here is retrograding in the 10th house and is activating the 4th and the 9th. All right. Usually such placement indicates there can be some issues related to family might show up during this time. As much as we think that the 10th house is house of a career, reputation, status, and whatnot, but I think the 10th house, it's the highest house related to karma and the soul contract. So whenever I see activation of the 10th house, I understand that there will be a contracts will make will be fixed, sorry, will be fixed during this time, or there will be a contract that will be cancelled or revisit or readjust during this time. 10th house is all about contracts. All right. So if let's say for example, because it's activating your 4th and 9th, so let's say for example, you got into agreement with certain company or with certain people in your family, or let's say in the house situation, you divided yourself, I mean, you divide the duties or responsibility, like you have to do this and that, and other person need to do this and that. Somehow, some way, the circumstance right now will start to change, and perhaps that agreement that you had will change also. Okay, so there will be a change in agreement, whether that agreement related to family or whether will be in your career. I don't think if it's somehow connected to your 7th house, it can be agreement with your spouse. It's actually also might indicate a divorce. The 10th house, I saw a lot of cases, the 10th house, it can activate a divorce and marriage. All right, so in both cases, there will be an agreement, there will be a contract can be made during this time. All right, and it could also indicate that you might meet your spiritual guru, you might meet your mentor during this time, you might get closer to your bosses or higher authorities in your company and your whatever you do as a career wise. All right, or you might, let's say, meet new people who can support you or provide for you a new contract. All right, so things related to agreements will play out during this time as an overall. All right, how good or bad, it depends on your chart. All right, so this is for Leo. Good luck for Leo people. Let's move to Virgo. Okay, Virgo, what do we have here? So we have Mars is retrograding in your ninth house. All right. And then it's activating your eighth and your third house. All right. So usually such placement might indicate a distant travel, might indicate, I don't want to say relocation, it's not indicating relocation, but perhaps that you might move to somewhere or considering other places where you think it might be suitable for you to move in. Either it could be a house, either it could be a country, city, state, name it. All right. There will be some sort of movement gonna happen during this time with Mars. All right. It could also indicate there can be some issues related to higher authorities will play out in your life. Let's say, for example, there can be a change in management, change in uh, the way how they do the business and so on. Maybe your manager will change, he will be shifted to other department or something somewhat happen in between and could really affect you in some way or another. All right. As a result, you will start to put extra effort in your work. You will start to put extra effort in wherever you are cultivating and focusing and doing during this time. There is as if like a new level of learning, a new level of observing the situation or whatever you are focused on right now. Again, if it's work, it could be that you start to learn a new skill during this time. Unexpected change happens, so no, I have to learn this skill in order for me to able to maintain this position. I have to learn this in order for me to do that, and so on. So this period is more like learning and putting extra effort to develop yourself and just like be the best of yourself. All right. But Mars here, it's really can indicate some sort of shakeup or change with the people who are in the higher authorities, or even in a family, could be the father or a masculine figure in your family. All right. So this is for Virgo. Wishing you all the best. Okay, let us move to Libra. So for Libra, we have here Mars is retrograding. Okay, Mars is retrograding in the eighth house and is the ruler of your seventh. Sorry, it's activating the seventh house and the second house. Can be most probably related to family issue, either your own spouse or in-laws. If you're telling me that you are not married, then most probably will be related to family. But yet, because Mars in the eighth, if let's say you are not married, you don't have anyone in your life, and you're just single, Mars here can indicate that you might actually start to think of accumulating assets either for yourself or for your future family, or you will start to expose things it was not really shown to you about your family. There will be some sort of exposure, either about family or someone who's close to you. You will start to know something about this thing. All right. Or it can indicate also that Mars here will push the person to get more deep into themselves. You might start to get triggered emotionally and mentally, perhaps past relationships, past events, trauma, childhood wounds, and all this stuff will start to surface. Eighth house is the house of subconscious. All right. Eighth house and 12th house, both of them are house of subconscious. For me, I believe eighth house is the most significant when it comes to subconscious. So when you have a retrograde planet sitting in that place, that's mean uh, there is some hidden things. There are some things that you've been hiding from or is not showing you right now start to surface back. All right. So this can be applied either you are married or single. This can be really a bit like mentally disturbing, but yet you will start to heal yourself from that point on, right? In contrary, if you are married and you are actually going through certain situation with your spouse, turbulence, things is just not right, this period can really, how can I say, it's not like trigger, but it will let you really understand the relationship and the situation from different perspective and then act accordingly. Mars is here is about action. So if you're already actually facing some issues and you didn't take an action out of it, or the partner didn't take anything of any action, then you might expect some actions in the next period. All right. Either in the good way or in the bad way. Again, it depends on your chart. But this is a strong theme related to relationship with the family. All right. Avoid getting involved in in-law. Let's say, for example, you already having an issue with your spouse or with your partner. Do not involve your in-laws. Do not involve any stranger in your relationship. It might get ruined. Like literally, I'm telling you, it might get ruined. All right. So exclude everyone. Try to solve it one to one between you and your spouse only. Okay. So yeah, I think the situation will start to get better when we reach January, but from now November and December, this is can be a bit critical period. All right. So I hope it was helpful and good luck for people who having Libra placement here. Okay, so now let us talk about Scorpio people. Okay, so Scorpio, we have Mars is actually retrograding in your seventh house, and it's activating. I'm really sorry if you are hearing like a noise in the background. I'm really sorry for that. Okay, so it's retrograding in the seventh house. It's activating the ascendant and the sixth house here. This is again, I think, a theme related to personal relationship and partnership, either in your personal life or either it's in your career. All right. If you are actually in a business partnership, it might indicate some sort of change. It might indicate some sort of, I don't want to say turbulence and conflict. If the situation already had a turbulence and conflict, you might expect things will start to get better a bit. If the situation was a bit tense, but yet nothing manifests or nothing really clashed, this period might indicate some sort of clash. All right. You have to be careful in the way how you speak, in the way how you present yourself, and in the way how you try to solve the issue or the situation. Because it seems like your partner will be much more emotional, much more sensitive towards the whole situation, and could take some drastic action. So you have to be much more wiser than your partner. All right. It can also indicate in some cases, it might indicate an illness could occur to your spouse or to the business partner, or they actually have to take care more of their health and well-being. All right. You also should do that, but I mean, it's more related to something related to your partners, which might affect your mental and emotional state. So you have to be careful about it. All right. If you are having legal issues in the last period, maybe this is a period where things will start to get solved. And if Mars here giving you a good point and is in the strong placement in your chart, means it will get resolved. All right. So any legal issues, any conflict, it might get resolved during this time. All right. So good luck for Scorpio people. Now let us talk about Sagittarius. Okay, Sag. All right. So we have here Mars is retrograding in the 6th house and is activating the 5th and the 12th. Okay, so such situation, it might indicate there will be a focus towards a child or towards your child, your kids, and the way how they managing themselves, or let's say for example the way how you raising them, you will start to kind of contemplate about it in some way. Or perhaps there will be an energy of, okay, let me try to sustain myself financially in order for me to be able to support them in much better way or in much effective way. There can be an energy of overthinking about the future, which of course you're not supposed to. Everything will be fine, but there is a strong energy here that's seen future wise, or future situation, future circumstance will kind of nudge you or will put some sort of fear inside of you. All right. And because the 12th Lord is sitting in the 6th house, it might actually and asking you to change some sort of structure or foundation in a family, or the way how you raise your kids, your how you manage your household, how you manage the financial aspect of the house. It will require from you to change something in the home. All right. Pay attention to your health, pay attention to your well-being, eat well, sleep well. All right. There can be some sort of disturbance also in sleeping pattern, but yet, I mean, do your best to maintain your energy to be in a calm and much more settled state. And I hope and I believe that this period will be easy for you. All right. So good luck for people who have Sagittarius placement. Okay, let us jump into Capricorn. All right. Okay. All right. So Capricorn, Saturn is transiting or retrograding in your 5th house and is activating the 4th and 11th house. This is pretty much a good placement for you. Because Mars, it's in Trikona and it's activating the Kendra, and it's activating also the highest of Upacha houses. It might indicate gains, um, elevation in status, elevation in reputation. It might also indicate an expansion in your professional network circle, or in your career in general. There will be an energy of being more creative, being more bold, being more like, I know what I'm doing, I have faith on whatever I do, so I will boost up on it, or I will just stick with whatever I supposed to do or whatever I desire to do. So there is an energy of like being encouraging yourself, being supporting yourself by yourself, and wanting to achieve more. All right. If you have been lacking this type of energy, then the things will start to manifest in next period, that you become like more adamant about it. All right. And if you actually right now, because Mars is retrograding, you start to feel doubtful, I will tell you, do not doubt yourself and just go ahead, because Mars here, even if, let's say, for example, right now, you are doubting about your energy, about whatever you're going to do and whatever you want to achieve during this time. I believe Mars retrograding right now, it might nudge you a bit to pay attention to certain points that you need to change, or maybe adjust one point in your plan, but does not mean you have to withdraw the whole thing. I hope it makes sense to some people, but doesn't mean that you have to withdraw, doesn't mean that you have to back up. No, you just continue and do whatever you're supposed to do, because the time period and the planetary placement itself is really supportive. All right. So wish all the best for people who have placement in Capricorn. Let's move on to Aquarius here. All right. So Aquarius people, we have Mars is retrograding in your fourth house. It's activating the third house and the 10th house. All right. So I believe during this time, there can be some sort of transformation might happen in your career. Either you have to put extra effort or you will be forced to not put any effort and just go with the flow. It's just one of the two. Because as if like there will be some sort of change which is out of your hand, out of your control, related to career or finance in general. But in most of cases, maybe around December onward, you will start to direct your energy into something else, or into new venture, or into a new plan. Some sort of this theme might play out during this time. All right, this is one point. A second point, if you have been trying to attain a vehicle, attain or selling a property, you might actually achieve that during this time, in the next few months from now. All right, it might also indicate that you need to change an agreement with the seller or with the buyer or whomever you are agreeing with, all right, to pass this contract. But yet it will pass smoothly because it's not really a transit for Aquarius. All right. Again, I mean, how good or bad it depends on your chart, but there will be a good change, hopefully a positive change related to contract or agreement that you need to execute during this time. All right. The only one negative point that you need to pay attention to is to pay attention to the health of your mother. There can be some sort of turbulence in between. All right. So wish all the best for Aquarius people. I think it will be a good period for them. Okay, let's move to the last sign here, Pisces. Okay, so Pisces. We have, what do we have? Yeah, Mars is retrograding in your second house. And we have, yeah, and it's activating the second. Sorry, it's retrograding in the third house. And it's activating the second house and the ninth house. So what does that mean? It might indicate that if you took a decision, a plan, or you felt that you want to execute something in the last period and you are going ahead with it, most probably Mars retrograde right now will ask you to change something or to adjust something. All right. And if Mars transit right now is not really favorable for you, or the time period is not really good, it might indicate an extra expenditure in order for you to execute that particular plan that you have been working on. All right. It could be actually connected to career, connected to your finance. It might also manifest that you have to travel unexpectedly during this time, which most probably also will cost you to pay more money or to like have extra expenditure here, right? Let's say, for example, you're starting a new business or starting a new venture or starting a new project, whatever it is. And then suddenly you have some issues going on somewhere, so you have to travel or you have to move, and something like that might happen. So it's just like a bit like extra expenditure going on. All right. But again, nothing major will occur. But the main key here of Mars retrograde, you will change certain plan or certain aspect of the plan that you already working on in last few months. And I hope it doesn't mean that you have to start from zero. Okay, if the chart is really afflicted, that's mean maybe you have to redo everything. But this is the worst case scenario. But in other side of the polarity, it means you have to change one certain thing. All right. Or it could also that you will realize something or you will learn something which might help you in your project, in your plan, or when whatever you are doing right now that you want to execute, and you will execute it in much more efficient and effective way. All right. I hope it makes sense. But otherwise, I do not think it will be a bad period. All right. But yeah, you just have to pay attention with your expenses, because this is kind of combination of expenses related to traveling or to some sort of realization about something, about project, whatever you are doing right now. All right. So yeah, that's it. So I hope it was helpful for all of you. Please let me know what you think, or if there are any of the theme playing out in your chart. Please comment in below. All right. So wishing you all the best. And if you have any questions, any inquiry, again, you can either contact me by my website, via my website, or you just can comment and I'll reply back. And wishing you all the best. The main key here, do not react. All right. Mars is about impulsiveness, so it's better try to calm down as much as you can and do not react. I would say until December. All right, also until December, because we are actually still in the shadow period of a eclipse. So it's better to wait until December before you take any action. Or let's say, for example, you cannot wait until December, then wait until like 20 of November and then go ahead, or 15, let's say, of November, and then go ahead with whatever you have to do. All right, let this period pass by, because again, the eclipse, Mars retrograde and all, it just becoming very chaotic during this period. All right, so take care of yourself, stay good and be good. And yeah, thank you.